welcome our new guest. Go ahead, Choctaw.
All right. Thank you very much, G7. And the man himself is here, one of the leading pioneers in early podcasting on YouTube. I am so happy to be welcoming the man, Frankie Val, also known to us lovingly as Quite Frankly. Good morning, Frank. How are you? Check your mic, Frank. Your mic.
How about this?
Hey, there we go. Now there is the man, Frank. Now this is the way to start an interview with Quite Frankly.
Scout, thank you so much. And hello to the Badger. How's the Badger feeling today?
Badger's feeling great. I've never seen you in sunshine, so.
Oh, I'm in sunshine right now. Absolutely. Listen, first of all, thank you so much for that amazing intro. I wouldn't say pioneer on YouTube podcasting, but we definitely did start a long time ago on a number of things before YouTube got with the game. But thank you so much for all that. I'm happy to be here. I should do this more often. It'll give me more of a reason to go to bed earlier than I do and get up earlier. That's for sure.
Well, Frank, we are so honored to have you here. Listen, we are 21 subscribers away from hitting 44,000, and we've been growing, we've been building. One thing I want to point out is that 24/7, as well as you do, has a good relationship with the SGT report. With that said, most of our people in our YouTube chat room and our subscribers are not aware that you have a relationship with us here at 24/7 that goes back to April during the Tracy Beans rally that took place in Washington, D.C. Would you care to elaborate on that for us?
Oh yeah, I got to meet quite a few of you guys out there in DC. That's another. I can't wait to go back down there actually in November. That's going to be a lot of fun. But that was just a great time. Lauren and I jumped all over the opportunity to get out of town and meet up with some good people, and that was really when I started putting together how organized you guys have it at Soapbox. And I'm so happy to finally be on. Because it wasn't until that weekend that we went down there that I looked into just how steady the viewership was and how involved your community of viewers were and how organized all of the programming was. I love that stuff because I had been a part of and helped lead the charge in organizing a broadcast network over here as well. And we maintained that for a couple of years, but that was on another platform. That was based in Ustream. So it was really awesome to me to see just how well coordinated so many people were from different points of the country. And aren't you guys international too? Don't you have a couple of international pieces of the puzzle? I love that. I love spontaneous collaboration, and I love the efforts of free speech and expanding a conversation beyond its normal bounds. It's just really cool that anybody puts their time into that. And I'm just glad to be hanging out. But it's SGT though.
Yes.
SGT though, just awful. And as we know, this is not the first time that this has happened. Just in recent times, it's almost like it's just an isolated incident right now, even though it's an awful incident. But we've already gone through 2 rounds of purges on YouTube. And to be honest, I don't know if you guys can fill me in, but I don't even know what the hell was in that last video that he posted that he got booted with. I was hoping to speak to him tomorrow night on my show, but I don't have any answers still. What was in that video?
You know, Frank, I'm really not sure. I mean, it hit, I think, early in the morning, and it was gone real quick. I mean, we were sitting here on air, and all of a sudden we start getting flood of info from the YouTube chat that they had shut SGT down. So, but I really don't know what the impact. Maybe you can get at that tomorrow night on your show.
I hope so, because that'd be interesting. He's been right over the target lately too, and but I know there's a couple of hot button issues that have been nabbing a lot of people in the just nabbing a lot of people on YouTube, whether you talk about, I don't know, terrorist incidents in certain ways, suspects in certain ways, chronology in certain ways, official stories. I'm trying to find little double meanings because I don't want to screw up your own stream, It's just nuts. It's nuts. It forces you into this habit of reflecting on every word you use when it's so obvious nobody has malicious intent. There's just something weird going on here. And it's really awful to see someone who's put so much work into building a channel. I mean, he was well over 300,000 subscribers, and now he's down to a backup channel. And I don't know. I know that you can dispute strikes. I don't know if you can. How lucky people get for actually bringing a terminated channel back.
Well, this ought to be interesting to play out, and I will watch the show tomorrow night for sure. Never miss an episode to see how he addresses this. One thing that I really would like to ask you this is, you're from New York, you're from the city, how old are you, Frank?
33.
You're 33. How does a young man with so much talent, and from New York especially, end up being a conservative type libertarian talk show host?
Okay.
I know I ask the easy questions, right?
Yeah. It is easy. It's just a little bit involved because it's so it's nuanced stuff there. You got I was raised by parents who my mother is, very apolitical. She doesn't care about anything. In fact, she only whenever she has a political opinion, it's usually just something she heard Wendy Williams say. So it's nothing. She's just, she watches The View and she watches all this stuff. It makes my skin crawl, but that's just what she does. My father, on the other hand, he hasn't really been very political too, but he's gay. My father came out when I was in high school. So but before that, it was always like this ambiguous thing because he was always the one that was coaching. He was always the one that was directing my school plays or community theater around here. He's an actor, a singer, a choreographer. So I got all the performing arts from him. We were always on stage. My mother is the one that taught me how to play shortstop. She was a shortstop herself. Everything was kind of flipped. But aside from that, that was the basis there. So you grow up stewing in this pot of some, sports, but also a lot of old school type of entertainment industry stuff. A lot of perform Broadway, always down the city. I like being about 20 miles outside the city so that you can dip in and dip out. The suburbs is definitely more my thing. But other than that, how does that all happen? I tell you, it really just came down to the fact where I thought I was a Democrat for so many years, and I don't even really acknowledge parties that much anymore either, because of just surface level issues like how well do they get along with other people? Were they hip? Were they hip in a youthful sense? Was it more of a socially liberal, don't be a drag type of a group of people? I didn't know anything about the actual nuts and bolts of liberty and what it really means to not be a drag on people who want to live their lives the way they do. And in the 90s when I was growing up, it was more so you had that really strong element of that religious right, stuffy neocon element that really defined the Republican Party. There was no really great statesman back then. There's nobody talking about anything that really resembled anything we talk about with federalism or anything like that. It just had a weird Tipper Gore versus it was just that's when we're labeling CDs for explicit lyrics and a lot of stuff's going on. I'm saying, I don't like these guys, and these guys are a little bit more fun. But then it just came down to coming across my first conspiracy videos, and that kicked open a door to then reading into the Constitution itself, and then history, in a little bit more of a broad sense, the hidden histories and everything else. And I start realizing that I am conservative because I'm liberal. And
say that one more time, Frank.
I start realizing that I am conservative because I'm liberal, because the conservation of our rights, and which is actually in this country the restraining of the ability of the government to make really, really big impacts on your personal life and everything else in your life, restraining the government from meddling with your life really is a way of liberalizing society, where you allow localities to make decisions for localities. You're thinking and acting locally. You're just, and that's just it. You're not having some senator from Nevada tell somebody from Maine how to live. You know, somebody from Miami is not pushing their way of life on somebody from Topeka. You know, and that's how we were set up. And I would start realizing that. I said to myself, okay, well, it's going to be very hard for me to stay calm because I'm a very fiery person, but I have got to try to find a way of bringing all of this in my life, all of my interests, I bring my family out as much as I can. How can I bring all of this together and really just articulate a new way of going through the news and just talking to people and having a good time? Because I think that would be a lot better than, showing up to a network here and a network there, looking at somebody with their suit and the blush and the lipstick, and then they just spout out the party lines, and then the pendulum just keeps swinging. And it didn't make any sense. So I don't know if it's still going to make any sense, but at least I feel like I'm not insane right now. That's pretty much a little bit of it.
Do you feel like that you are a part of an independent media movement, that sort of thing? That's how we see ourselves here, as being a part of independent media, trying to overtake the mainstream media. Do you see that direction for yourself?
Oh, yeah. I think everybody on the stream right now is part of it. That's the best part. It doesn't matter how little, and I'll say it over and over again when on this topic. But 2016 was the first time that an election was decided by bloggers and people on Twitter and message boards and podcasters, and it's really unbelievable. Oh, memes decided the 2016 election. So you'll never be able to explain that to somebody, you wouldn't be able to get down that far because they have you up here talking about Russians. So if you're up here talking about Russians, you can't actually understand and see that there's a sinkhole underneath that is just expanding and there's nothing there anymore. It's just this veneer of mainstream media up top, and underneath is just emptiness because all the substance has gone away. And the best thing about it is, like you said, it's become decentralized. Just like government needs to be decentralized, media needs to be decentralized in order to preserve freedom. If you concentrate government power, lo and behold, freedom leaves. Okay, if you concentrate media power, lo and behold, free information and free flow of ideas tends to leave. And that's why I like looking at the micro and the macro, because absolutely everything is related, because everything has to do with human interactivity. And we are just so predictable as a species that you can see why certain industries go a certain way. Because even if you're talking about car manufacturing, you're talking about at the base end, humans are making and designing the cars, and humans are consuming the cars. Humans are making the parts that go into the cars. So everything affects each other, and human behavior, whether it be media, whether it be government, it's all the same shite. It really is. We're so predictable.
Well, you bring up one point that I was sitting here thinking about while you were talking, and Pamphlet Anon and 412 Anon have a call-in show here for 2 hours in the afternoon. It's called Freedom Rings, and they have more or less spearheaded a discussion here at 24/7 Live Radio, and that discussion is how do we bring more young people into this movement? I mean, obviously you're a young person. I would assume, go for a certain demographic with your show, even though you get old geezers like me. But what can be done? Where in the narrative is this that you think that we can bring more young people into the fold, bring young patriots out into the light?
Unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit tricky, only because, like, for example, I coach Little League. I've been coaching Little League baseball for 10 to 12-year-old children since my junior year in college, so like 2006. And at first I took that up as an opportunity. I thought it'd be fun, and I couldn't play baseball that much anymore. I was still doing some beer league softball, but I had so many other things I was doing between the band and between our broadcasting back then. I didn't have time, so I wanted to bring this game into my life and keep it alive, and also be able to pass on some knowledge and have some fun with the younger generation. But from there, I started realizing an opportunity to not only teach kids a great game, but also teach life lessons through the game, and also try to mix in some good history and ask them what they've been learning at school, and just talking to them. And whereas I think that people need to start, I mean, they're not my children, and I only get them for maybe about 10 to 12 hours a week. And of course, that's the only thing that sucks, is people need to start volunteering a little bit more. People who actually have children need to get a lot more involved in their education. You got to be a lot more inquisitive. Parents and kids need to put down the cell phones a little bit and talk to each other a little bit more, because the more disengaged we become, the more children really just become more and more easily defined wards of the state. Federal school systems really do believe that they're co-parenting children, and no, there's only one set of parents. And that is, I think that's huge right there. The cultural institutions have been infested by cultural Marxists for a long, long time. And volunteering and being a little bit more involved in your children's education, that's a huge thing there, because we got to fight back against a very big, it was a great thing that the Janus decision in SCOTUS. That was a great thing there, to be able to beat back the unions there and allow to take away a little bit more strength from the teachers' unions that are so overwhelmingly left wing. Things like that are very helpful, especially in the long run. But that's just really it. I always say that if you take the notions of liberty, and if you take what we already have established here and codified here in our Constitution and our founding documents, and you're somehow able to give that to children as their heritage, as their birthright, and make them understand why it's so important and how. Because if you look at them, you're starting to see a tendency in these children is they're so willing to go above and beyond to show how open and accepting and tolerant they are of other people, that they're buying into the most ridiculous shit. Like, we're talking about gender bending and all this other stuff. They're obviously a very tolerant generation, very open-minded generation. Can you imagine if you took that kind of social tolerance of that generation and handed it the Constitution, and they actually understood it? I said we'd be building condominiums on Mars right now. We would be looking toward the stars instead of contemplating what's in our pants. It's something. I think that's just really it. So it has to start off small. It has to start off with the preservation of the courts, because with the preservation of the courts, it's going to preserve the right for local communities to really take hold, or at least have the opportunity to impact the way that they are educating children, and to once again get away from the uniform education that federal government wants to put on everybody. Uniform anything, one size fits all never fits well, and that's just where we are. So it'll be a long process. It'll be a arduous process, but I think we're going to do it well, because we're in the deep end of the pool right now. It's like we're at rising action. It's not so much like we don't know what we're facing. There's a lot of known quantities right now, and definitely that next generation is worth saving for sure.
You mentioned talking about the children, talking about trying to reach, the younger generation. What is it through your show? What are your objectives? You have a lot of fans here at 24/7, and we pretty much come over every night at showtime and watch you and listen to what you say and things that are going on. But what do you see as your objectives that you're trying to produce on your show to get out there to the people?
Objective. Oh, man, have I had an objective? Let me see.
Or is it just creation on the fly?
I don't know. There is a lot of on the fly, a lot of improv there. I think at this point, all I know when I go live every night is I know what pisses me off. And as long as I know what pisses me off, then I think that's a good starting point. Because you're in like 2006 or 7 when The Secret started becoming very popular. You remember that? The Law of Attraction. They kind of did a little watered down version of the Abraham Hicks Law of Attraction that was going on, and it turned a lot of people temporarily into these negative energy phobic monsters. They're like, no negativity, no negativity. It's like, what? It's like, no, listen, you need to understand what you don't want. You have to be able to identify what you don't want and why. You have to be able to have the two, the dark and the light there, because there's no contrast. Last night I was talking about contrast on the show, where I think that through the surprise, almost a surprise election of Donald Trump, the left was given an opportunity here, or they were faced with a choice that they didn't expect to be facing. And that was, they thought that, number one, Hillary Clinton was going to win. Number two, if it wasn't going to be Donald Trump, if they were going to lose, they thought they would lose to a Jeb Bush type. So there was never really going to be a reckoning with what was really brewing inside the Democrat Party. Now that Donald Trump, a wild card, unknown quantity, has gotten in, and he's not part of the big club, and he wasn't invited, they had a choice. What do we do to combat this? Because he's pulling people down toward moderation, and they have built everything, all their resistance, on complete hatred of the man. So there's no way that they can moderate and agree with him on things. So they actually chose to go farther left. And it is creating such a disparity, and you actually can see the stark differences between the two in ways that had never been before, because as we know, the uniparty is really, the Republican Party is just the Republican wing of the Democrat Party. And I think that this has been so you think about what you don't want, and it shows that contrast. Well, man, it is night and day. And as long as you can listen to your gut, because a lot of people in my life, myself included, a lot of people, we've really been gaslighted, and I hate that term is starting to get abused by people on the media, but on the mainstream media, because we've been getting gaslighted by information that makes us really feel like we've gone nuts. Like we didn't hear them say the opposite a month ago. Like we know that every stance they take is not a contradiction of 4 others that they've taken before. And you start thinking to yourself, what the hell do we do when we've been so inundated with bad information? I still think that even in the most paralyzed state, the average human being still has that gut instinct. Something isn't right here. The problem is that when you feel like something isn't right and you know something is going wrong and you don't know how to articulate that, that brings up a lot of frustration and confusion, and people start acting out in really weird ways. So, and in really violent ways sometimes too. Like children. when we're children, we still have that instinct if something's wrong and we've been hurt in some way, but sometimes we don't know how. We don't know what jealousy is yet. We don't know why some things are affecting us. We start throwing temper tantrums. The entire country is being brought into this infantilized state so that there can really be dictated by emotion. And that's really all it is. You talk about objectives. I really would have to say, now that you make me think about it, it would have to be tapping into that gut feeling, which is the last remnant of anything that that makes us human, and try to give it a little bit more of a better articulated message. Allow us to maybe give everybody a little bit of an opportunity to maybe consider what they're feeling through the way that I've been able to define it for myself. And of course, whatever they feel, go ahead and work off of that. It doesn't matter. I don't need anybody to agree with me, but I think it would be good for the country right now and the world if we can at least get back to a point where we can peaceably disagree. That's not even happening.
Right. Good point, Frank. I want to switch gears real quick. Unfortunately, man, this runs so fast here. We've only got 5 minutes left. I would like for you to discuss the weekly podcast project that you have going on with Tracy Beans.
Oh, well, I forget how many months ago it was now. I think we started in May, but back in early spring, we had gotten together. So I actually don't even know how it came up, but we were talking about it before because I told her she should start a podcast a long time ago, and she floated the idea of us doing it together. I liked the idea. I just let her know it'd have to just be once a week because I would burn out, and she loved that, and I think that what I told her would be awesome if she did, why she did it, is because she does so many of these really in-depth pieces on her channel, and her channel is dedicated toward taking apart open source information and holding it up against a variety of plot lines that are developing, things that we haven't considered, and it really has been a great exercise in just using the internet like somebody else would have run to a library years ago and start combing through books and information and trying to get a better understanding of what's going on. Because as we all know, we're not being given the whole story. We're being given the thumbnail sketch and the party line view of something. And I'm not interested in either party's view, and neither is she. So what we're looking at here is a way to put all of the great work that she did during the week into almost like a weekly roundup hour, and I would bring a little bit more of just whatever I bring, and that would be it. And I think that it's been a really good decision for both of us, because I realized right off the bat, number one, it adds a facet to her weekly work schedule that was lacking. So she had a void filled, and people have been consuming it in a great way. Number two, for me personally, it allows me to do something serious and something a little bit more, in depth and a little bit more dense and headline based earlier in the day on Friday after a long week of broadcasting every night, so that when I go live on a Friday night, I can talk about something a little bit weirder, a little bit more off the cuff. So it really worked out. The seen and unseen benefits have been great, and I'm just glad it's growing, because I feel it's been a good contribution to the whole overall conversation that's going on.
Just two questions for you, Frank. Real quick ones. The first one is where can the viewers here at 24/7, where can they locate that podcast?
Oh, radioinfluence.com. That's where Dark to Light is on, is hosted mainly there. But Radio Influence goes and they syndicate that out to iTunes and Stitcher and TuneIn, I believe. So it's on all the major platforms, especially iTunes and radioinfluence.com. And usually if you follow any of us on Twitter, we're usually, whenever Radio Influence tweets it out at 5 p.m. every Friday afternoon, we just start circulating it again too. So you're bound to stumble over it at some point.
And this question deals with, are you fixing to make any major changes? I know, like, the biggest change that I saw was when Larry passed away.
I don't know why.
He's working on the optics.
Yeah, that was such a catchword last night with you, Frank. I loved it.
Optics. Like we're fighting a war for our lives here, and people are worried about my tattoos. It's unbelievable. People, just one idiot. But either way, there's no reason why the death of a lava lamp should affect me so deeply. But I feel like it's just unbelievable how you just get attached to things. And here's the real sad story. This is an exclusive for you guys. Larry's still alive.
Breaking!
Larry has been taken back by the previous owner, and I tried everything in my power to barter with this my buddy. He had given Larry to us to put on display at the studio. Didn't have a name back then. The audience named him Larry. Put on display at the studio 4 years ago. Okay, it was first that lava lamp was first in the other room that we had me and my band play, and that I used to go live on my drums with, which I'll be doing again sometime soon in next year. So the lava lamp was there, and then once we moved into the new studio, and we're looking at new ways to doll up the broadcast desks and all that stuff, I said, let me bring the lava lamp in here, get that on the thing, a little bit. And eventually it got a partner. We got Louise to join him. But now, 4 years later, my buddy gets in touch with me and says, I'm doing a little bit of rearranging in my living room. And I have the couch pulled away from the wall, and I wanted to be able to put the lava lamp back in there. I want to come by and pick that thing back up and bring it back into the living room because I have to plug it in. There's only one opportunity I have to get this thing in there and then push all the furniture back to where it was. I'm like, dude, can you give me 3 days? I will order you a replacement on Amazon, and I will get it to you. I will rush deliver it. I have Prime. It'll be here in a day. I will get you a new one. This thing has sentimental value now. The audience has named it. It would be really, it's like, he didn't even answer that text. I was like, you got to be kidding me. He's taking this thing back after 4 years. So that's the thing that kills me the most when you say the death of Larry. The thing that hurts me the most is, yeah, it would be hurtful if he was dead, but it's even more, it's almost like breaking up with somebody. It's like, is it better off that we're both alive and on different parts of the planet? Or would it have been better off that it was like a more definitive end? One of us did die, that you don't have to be tortured or just knowing that they're still alive somewhere. So Larry's out there somewhere. Next time I go to his house, I'll take a picture and I'll show you everybody that he's being held hostage.
Well, thanks for the breaking news, Frank. We always appreciate it here at 24/7. Just real quick before I have to let you go.
Anytime, by the way, anytime you want me back, just let me know. When I learned about you guys at 24/7 in April, I was so taken aback by all the great work that you guys have done and all of the great audience that you have built and how engaged everybody is. And I'm so upset with myself that I haven't done anything with you guys until now. So thank you for the invite and keep them coming. And you're always welcome on my show. You should call in more.
I will. I shall do that. You know me. I will get involved in anything that involves you pretty much.
All right.
One other thing real quick. Can you give your social media to all of our folks out here?
Yeah. Twitter is @politicalorgy. And I have an Instagram that, quite frankly, podcast.com. That has everything you need to know, including a blog. And it has all the links to all the different places I'm on, all the places where I stream live every night, simulcast on Twitch and Periscope and YouTube. Of course, the way that we started out, talking about Sean from SGT, I am very, very into trying to get people away from being fiercely loyal to one particular platform. While we're there, fine. And while we're there, we have to make do with things. Great. We know a lot of people know to meet every night on YouTube. We have a great time there. But I don't trust the future on YouTube as far as I can throw it. And you can't throw it because it's actually not even tangible. So it's that's just what it comes down to. Being able to control your audience and be able to control how people reach you and how you can reach them outside of all these platforms that have shown such animus toward people like us. That's the thing that I really think about all the time. So quite frankly, podcast.com, that's like the headquarters away from all of the normal gathering spots. And of course the Discord is pretty happening too.
Well, Frank, we sure appreciate you being on. I just want to say real quick to the YouTube chat room that we put the link in there several times. She7 did for his YouTube channel. So Frankie Val, from quite frankly, it has been just an absolute honor. And let everyone know out there that you do come on at 7 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. And once a month, just real quick, you do a weekend show.
Yeah, actually, I think this weekend we're going to be going live at midnight. I don't know what we're going to talk about this weekend, though. I have some people send me some great email now. I get all of this. So we have like intelligence insiders and a lot of veterans. They're always in contact with me. I love that. And they give me their 2 cents but other people just send in their ghost stories. They send in, their near death experiences, their run-ins with, like cryptids and, weird animals that they haven't been able to identify. And I love the weird shit too. And it's so important to do all of that, I believe. So that's why I like doing the midnight broadcasts once a month. That had, actually, that's because of the patrons, actually. And we do that midnight broadcast once a month, and it's a little bit more just calls from the audience and just talking about kooky stuff late at night. And that'll probably be this Saturday night.
Great.
Say, Frank.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Yo, 412, by the way, I see you over there chilling. How you been, man?
I'm good, man. It's great to see you.
Oh, dude, it's good to finally be on.
Say, Frank, good morning to you. Couldn't let you go without saying hello. This is Dead Cat.
Dude, it's so good to see you again, too, man.
Yes, sir.
Now, listen, the first time I met...
The highlights of my trip to Washington, D.C. was getting to meet you and Tracy.
Dude, are you going to go down again in November? You think you'll be able to go?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Would not miss that March. Would not miss it.
I'll tell you what's going to be amazing. And I told everybody too. In my circle of friends, I'm going to bring down a lot of buddies. I'm going to pack my car out. I'll take down as many people as I can, and I'll try to encourage somebody else. I know my uncle, my Marine uncle, wants to come down. I'm trying to get everybody to come down. The best thing about this is that if everything, I'm not going to jinx anything. Obviously, let me just knock on something. Yeah. So the best thing about this is you're talking about November 11th, and the election is November 6th. So by the midterm election, as long as by November 7th, 2018, we know that majorities are securely in place. And that right there sounds like it's all okay, rah, rah, Republican. No. There's a reason why James Comey is really, really desperate for Democrats to win in November. And that is because the committees that have been formed to investigate many of the things that he has been involved in and had to personally sign off on are going to be affected by the majorities in Congress. So just for the sake of wanting to see a meaningful conclusion to any of what's going on in government right now, I really want the midterms to swing in the way of Patriots. So if we go down if that could be a march a couple of days after the midterms and the blue wave just crash onto the shore with very, very minimal results, it will be such an amazing day. I'm going to be so star-spangled out of my mind, and I'm going to have such a great time. I just try to keep it in mind, and that's why no matter what I do, I just keep encouraging people: do not become complacent. Anybody over the age of 18 with half of a brain left that you can talk to about what's going on, get them to the polls and start researching your local candidates from now and get involved, and do not think that you have the luxury of staying home on November 6th. You do not have that luxury, especially if we want to celebrate on the 11th.
Well, Frank, just one more quick thing, since we're talking about the get-together at 11/11. Summer Sunrise from the YouTube chat room has asked us several times, so would you please let her know? She says, please ask Frank, rumors that parade changed to Saturday the 10th, has he heard?
No. In fact, you want me to Google it? I don't know.
Hey, if you want to work for us, no problem.
I haven't heard anything other than 11/11.
And that's all I've heard, too.
Military parade changed to November 10th. Wait, hold on a second. ABC News from July 20th. President Trump's upcoming military parade is expected to cost $12 million. That official, I don't care. Parade has been set to take place on Saturday, November 10th.
Wow.
Oh, wait. In Washington, it will commemorate the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I. It was originally scheduled to coincide with the city's Veterans Day parade on Sunday, November 11th. As many as 7,000 service members could march in the parade, according to U.S. Defense officials familiar with parade planning. Up to 3,000 people are expected to be involved in the planning of the event. It hasn't gone into anything. Okay, well, I better stop saying the 11th then.
I'd be looking into ABC's credibility on this.
Can you?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Pretty bold move if ABC started telling people to show up a day. Well, then again, no, if you tell them to show up a day earlier, it makes sense why it would be a Saturday, just because you would get maximum amount of people coming out. That would, and you wouldn't have a lot of people having to take Monday off. You can just drive back on a Sunday. So it makes sense, but wow, thank you for the super chat. Was that a super chat?
No, we don't do super chat here.
Okay, well, thank you for I would have never known that this is
all right. Great. Well, listen, Frank, thank you so much for being on with us today. It has been an absolute pleasure. Anytime you want to come back, just contact us, let us know. We'll be happy to have you on. You got breaking news, real breaking news that you want to bring to us. The door's always open to you 24/7.
I'm just going to reciprocate and say, you guys know that you call in. Usually because it's a 2-hour show now, I'm able to make at least 25 to 30 minutes time for random calls. Then I do scheduled calls, but I'm like a vampire. I need to be invited in. I don't. I don't like actually walking through somebody's front door. So whereas I'm going to be keeping up with you guys and gals and offering all the support you need, just let me know anytime that a subject comes up that you would like me to join in the fray, because that's more my thing. Hey man, you need me for this topic? It's not like me. So just be completely. Don't be bashful and just keep being a friend. That's all. That's
very, very generous of you, Frank. One more thing, Dead Cat.
Yeah, let me just say, Frank, welcome home.
Dude, I still am so happy that Dead Cat's on this because I'll tell you, going down there on that in April and getting to know him and getting to know just so many people. What was it? Is Greg Sniffle watching? He's another one. Some just great people. I mean, It does really feel very homey. It does. I feel very comfortable. I feel like I'm in a beanbag chair right now, but I'm not. So it's great to be on with all you guys and gals, and I can't wait to come back for sure.
Well, it's been good hearing from you this morning, Frank. This is Thumper. So, thanks for coming on over and sharing your thoughts with us.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you. How many other people? Wait, hold on. I'm just seeing this. Second time I've been on Zoom. Oh, there's a lot more people on. Lulu. What's going on, Lulu?
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, Pamphlet's here.
G7's here.
G7. Well, okay, so this is great. I didn't even see that there was more people up top. Now I'm scrolling through.
Hey, you're lucky.
Yeah, the gang is here.
So is this usually how it takes place? Right now, with all the people on, is that everybody involved with the show, or is that just a mixture of people on the show and people managing the network on the back end?
Well,
listening.
Go ahead, G7.
Yeah, and listening too.
Oh, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice aspect. Zoom is pretty interesting. Maybe
just real quick, Frank, we're all volunteers here. Everybody's a volunteer. We all have scheduled shows that we do. And quite an operation when you consider, and it's all volunteers. I mean, it's something that we are all very, very proud of.
You know why it's a great thing, and why I'm so happy for you guys for having this kind of organization is because I was killing myself for about 5 years to build up. The network was called ZenLive.tv. It was a Zedalza Entertainment Network. I'll tell you what Zedalza means another time. It's a rabbit hole. In itself, an inside joke that went way too far, like most things. And what we did was it was alternative news and entertainment. And because we were on Ustream, and I discovered Ustream in 2007 when it first launched. So I got in touch with the CEO, Brad Hunstable, and we became really good friends. He's a Cowboys fan, so we had a lot in common. And we were given so many perks. I hope I'm not bleeding over into something. Are you guys?
No corporate sponsors. Go ahead and wrap up, Frank.
So we were hanging out, and